More music on trendybeats.com.
Good evening, guys. I welcome you back to day 3 of our web development masterclass. In this masterclass today, we are going to look at the call to action and the main content section. The call to action and the main content section. That is what we're going to look at for today. Then we will probably look at the about us also as well. And if that permits, we will add the services to it. Now let's go back to our HTML. Now we are done with the header section. Now we are moving straight to the main content where the call to action button is. So I will start with my comment as usual. So this is main content with CTA, that is call to action button. Okay, main content with call to action button. Now in the main content, we are going to now use what is called the sessions at this part. You see, in the first part, we use the header because it's for the header, okay, of our website. Now, where we got into, we are using sessions to divide them into sessions, as I showed you earlier on set when we started the course. Okay, so we are using the session, okay, the session part. So this one will be for the main and the call to action. Now in the session part, we need to give an ID. This time we're using ID, not a class. Okay, we're using an ID, not a class. Here in this class, when we're using the div. Okay, but here we are using what ID. As I said, there are two selectors. You have IDs and what classes in CSS. So this time we are using class ID, not class. So ID, I would say the ID should be, this is the home. Okay, you can give it any name. Okay, it doesn't matter if you home or you can give it any name, but sometimes the names should correspond to the section that you are working with, so they become easier for reference, even if you're not coming back to look at it. Okay, and that's why it makes meaning when you understand reading your code. Okay, so that is my ID. Now the header, I'm using what H1. You all know H1. Okay, I'm using H1 for what the headers have a bigger header. So I'll say web development internship. Okay, web development internship. That's, let me use my company name, Delegate Tech Hub. Okay, so that is the first part of it. Now there's going to be a small paragraph to describe what the person will get, or when someone tries to do an internship, what he or she will get. Okay, so we're using a paragraph here. Now the paragraph, let's just touch something small there. Okay, we can even use the lorem test, okay, as an example, but now I want to type something meaningful. Okay, so let me just type something meaningful there. But for it to move faster, you can use the lorem test to just generate a sample test and use it. Okay, good. So I'm saying that gain real world experience, okay, and mentorship in the field of web development. Okay, that is it. So let's also add this. Maybe click on the apply button to apply. Okay, just a description of the button that we are going to use. So basically, we are done with that part as well. Now we are going to the call to action. Okay, the call to action section. So let me do my comments. So this is call to action button session. Now in the call to action button session, we are just adding what? We are using an anchor tag, okay? With an anchor tag just to add the button to it. But since it is a different, okay, it is going to be a different session from our each one and the paragraph tag. I'm going to give it a div, okay? I'm giving it a div, a division, so that I can style the button separately. So I have div, then I'll give the div a class, okay? So class, and I'll say CTE. That is the class I'm going to the button I'm going to do. So I'm using an anchor tag here. Now the reference is going to be my website. So https, then the techhub.online. Okay, so when the person click on this, it's going to take the person straight to the website. Now the text is going to what? Apply now. Okay, apply now. So we are basically done with this session. So let me close it. So this ends the main content and the call to action session. Okay, we are done with this. Now let's go to the live preview to see how it looks like in our browser. How it looks like in our browser. So that is it. Okay, that is it. Now when you hover over it, you see beneath it, there is the website that it will take you to. When I click on it, it will open here for me then. Because I don't have access to internet, so it's not taking me there. Good. Now there is another thing. Okay, there's another thing that we can add. Okay, when you're talking about the references, now I can add a target. Okay, so in the target, you are saying it should be blank. The blank just simple means that when one click on this link, it will open a blank or a new window, okay, for this link. So it will move away from the parent site and open a new window for the person to view that particular hot. But we don't want it like that. We want the person to stay within the same hot site so that you can just go back once. So we can down say that self. Okay, you can use the self. So when the person clicks on it, it will not open a new window, but rather to open the site in the same window for the person to be able to fill it. So that's what you can also add to the href as part of an attribute. Okay. Now let's then move to the about us session. So we are done with the first session. We are moving to the about us. So let me bring my comments. So I'll say about us session with, okay, let's keep it about us session. The image, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the image. So about us session. Good. Now here we're also using the session because we're creating different sessions in your website. Okay. So the session, then you should give it an ID. The ID will be what? About, or it can be about as any one word. Okay. So we're saying the ID is about. Now, once you're given an ID, you also want to give it a class. Okay. You want to give it a class. The session class. Okay. The session class as well. So you can call using the ID and the class name as well. So let's say class. What do I use the class? Let me say about us. Let me use the class about us. Okay, good. Now we are doing divisions. Okay, because in the about us session, there are two different things. Okay, there are the text session and that of what? The image session. Okay, there are the text session and the image session as well in the about us page. So basically, that's what we're going to look at. So we are starting with the image session first, then the text session. So you need to give it a div to divide the session into two. So Dave, now since you're working the image session, we are going to insert an image. Okay, we're going to insert an image. So we say that we use the image tag, then the source. Okay, the source of our image is going to be in the image folder. Then probably let me use the intro. I'll change it. Okay, I'll change this one when I get all the images into the folder. Okay, I'll change it, but no problem. So that is it. Now, what should be the alternative text if the image does not display when the person opens in the browser? So we are saying that it should be about as image. Okay, about as image. As simple as that. Now we want to try and give the div a class so that we can style the image separately. Okay, so we're saying that class, then the class is about container. Okay, about container, and that is what you are giving to the whole thing here. Good. Now we are going to move to the test session. Okay, we are going to move to the test session, and within the test session, we are going to also use division or the div as well. Okay, the div, then we are giving it a class. So the class is what about dash test. You can use anything, but that's what I'm using, about dash test. Now we are using H2. Already you see that it's given to me. We're using H2. So about us. Now we're using the paragraph. So the paragraph is basically going to what? Post a little information about what we do. So here I'm just going to use the wrong text. I don't want to type into it to make the video very long. Okay. So let me just use this simple text to move it. Okay. So that is the first paragraph here. Now the next paragraph is also going to contain also some information. Okay. So I can just do copy and what paste. I can do copy and paste. So I have two what paragraphs. I have two paragraphs. Nicely done here. Now after the paragraph, we have some lists. Okay, we are going to list some of the things that the intern will get. Okay, what is going to work on. So we are using an ordered list. In that another list, we are using a list. So we say work on rare world projects that make a difference. That make a difference. So I'll just copy this one and paste like ready or 4B. That is all. I don't know. Okay. In order to make the video long. Okay. So I'll say learn from experts in web development. Then the next one, the same one on one mentorship, one-on-one mentorship. And the last one will be friendly environment to, to grow your career. So we are done with the listing. So basically, we are done with the about us session. Okay. We are done with the about us session. You see, very simple and straightforward. Okay. Very simple and straightforward. So we are done with that session. So when I click, you see the beginning tab and the closing tab. So the next session should be below it. and that is going to be the services session. Okay, the services session. In the services session, let me bring my comments. So this is services session. I'm not typing services session. Okay. So in the services session, we are also using session. Now we are giving it an ID of services. Then we are giving it a class of, we are using the first class that we give to this session here about us. Okay, using the same class for that. Okay, the same class for that. I'll give you an explanation. So about us. Good. About us. The reason that I'm using the same class is that the style that I'll apply to this session, this whole session, okay, I may want to apply the same thing to this session as well. That's why I'm using that. But if I'm giving a different, how do you call it, different style, I shouldn't use the same class name. Okay, I shouldn't use the same class name at all. It should be a different class name. Okay, so that's what it means. Basically, that's what it means. Good. Now let's then move on. We are going to have an H1, then that will hold our services. Okay, our services. Now the H1, our services. Now we want to also move ahead to another thing. You see the services that I showed you earlier. We have 4 columns and 2 rows. Okay, 4 columns and 2 rows, meaning that you have 4 items straight line up and in a 2 row. So that's what we're going to do. So because I'm going to start that one separate, I'm going to give it another division, which is separated from this. Okay, from this. So that is my second div. Now in the second div, I'm giving it a class. So class, and the class name is going to be services grade. Okay, because it's in a grade form. Okay, it is in grade, that is the boss. That's some grade services with grade. Okay, that's the class name. Good. Now this services grade is going to, this is going to hold all the content within that services. All the content. So this is the main container. Okay, this is the main container. Now in the same container, create another container for div again. Now I'm giving it a class, and the class I'm giving it is what? Services items. Okay, services items. Now in this services item, you see that each of the service blocks have an image, a text. Okay, an image, a text, and a paragraph. The image comes first, followed by what? The header, okay, then the paragraph. Okay, and that's what you're going to also duplicate here. So first I will insert an image. The source is going to my image, and I'm using the same image. Okay, then I'll say that this is developer, okay, developer image. Okay, developer image. So I'm done with the image. Now the next thing is I'm using an H3. Okay, I don't want it too big, so I'm using H3 here as my header. So I say web developer. Okay, web developer. Now the next will be my paragraph. Okay, so building modern responsive websites that adapt to various devices. Okay, that adapt to various devices. So basically, I'm done with my first division. Okay, I'm done with my first division. Let's go back to and see how it looks like. You see, this is the first division. This is our services. Okay, those are services. Okay, now this is my picture. This is my header and my paragraph. Okay, this is it. So I'm going to then continue from here to duplicate it and get about 4 of what the service, because it is 4. Okay, it is 4 row. Okay, it is 4 rows. So that's what this guy going to do. So let me move on. I will just copy the whole of this and be pasting them. Okay, so I have gotten my first 4 row. What I'll do is that I'll just change this one here. So this is UC mobile developer. So build modern mobile app. Build modern mobile app. Something like that. Now in the third one, I'm going to call it Python developer. Okay. So build modern responsive website that adapts to devices using Python. Using Python. Okay. Now the last one will be UI UX design. Okay. So creates an astonishing user interface and experience for clients. Okay, so now I'm done with the first 4 sessions. Okay, I'm done with the first 4 sessions. So this is the first 4 sessions. Okay, I'm done with that. Now in these instances, you can see from what I showed that there are 2 columns. Okay, there are 2 columns. So now how do I get that 2 columns? What I have to do is that I have to just end this column and start the second column below this div. Okay, below this div here. Okay, so I'm starting the next column here. Okay, so that in that instances, I'll get a different what row as well. I'll get a different row for it. Okay, I'll get a different row for that. So basically, that's what we're going to do. So I'll also start with a div. Okay, now I'm creating another 4 here. I'll start with the div. I'll give it a class. Okay, so class. What class should I use? I will say service items again. Okay, service item. Within this div container, we're going to also have 4 of the top one, as I did. Okay, 4 of it. And this 4, I can just copy all these 4 and come and paste it here. Okay, I can just copy all these 4 and come and paste it here. Okay, as simple as that. Okay, so I can copy that. Or better still, let me delete this. Copy the whole of this from here. Let me start from the beginning. Okay. From here up to this side. From here up to this side. Let me copy this. Then come and paste it here. So I have 2 different sections. Let's go back to the engine and see. How we see it. So when it counts, I will get 8 of it. Our services, I have 8 of it. So I'm not going to change them. Okay, I'm not going to change them because of time factor. But in your own, you can change the services name and other things, to add more services and make it dynamic. So that ends that session as well. So we've ended that session as well. Now our next session is going to be the contact us, but that one will be for the next class. So basically today, what have you learned? Now today we will learn how we can create the about us session. The about us session, we just have the session ID and the class about us. Okay. Now in this we added an image and a header and a paragraph. An image, a header, and a paragraph. And that's what we added at the about us session. Now we also added an ordered list. Okay, ordered list to showcase what the person may benefit from. Now we then came to what? The services session. In the services session, we have the session that contains the whole of the services. That is the two rows with 4 different columns. That contains 8 different sessions. So we give it an idea of what services and a class of about us. I said earlier that we give this class about us because in that aspect, what is going to be applied to this session, we want it to be applied to that session because we're going to style the H2s and the A3s, okay, by calling those ones. That's why we are giving it the same class. But advisably in the real world, if you're doing some of these things, you need to give it a different class so that you'll be dynamically good when it's styling them. You can style each part of the content dynamically. Okay. So basically that's what we did. So we added the sessions, each have a division. There's the starting tag, there's the closing tag. Okay. The starting tag, the closing tag for each of the item, starting and closing. Then this closes the whole of the first row. Okay, close the whole of the first row of our services session. Then we come to the second one. It also starts from here and ends here. Okay, it starts from here and ends here. And that also closes the whole of it. I think I need to bring a div here. Okay, bring a div here. Then there should be a closing div for the second one as well. Okay, a closing div for the second one. Because this closing is for this. And this tag, close tag is for this. When you click on it, you see it there. Beginning of the opening tag. Okay, good. And so you need, when you click on this tag, you see that it will highlight the closing tag. So it means that you have two different words in division here. You two different division here. So basically today that's what we're going to talk about. We end here and God willing, tomorrow we will continue with the contact us and that of what? The footer. Then you zoom in fully towards the CSS and start to style them differently, one after the other. Okay. Each session, you're going to start each session differently. Okay. So thank you very much for watching. See you tomorrow.